String beans. We often love having our daily share of fresh greens on our plate. And when we think of our beloved greens in Filipino dishes, sitaw often comes in mind. Sitaw or string beans are usually just one of 130 different varieties of green beans. Though they are often mistaken as exactly the same, there are several kinds of green beans in the world that originate from one plant family. What are string beans exactly? Snap beans and string beans are recognized under the same name, Phaceolus vulgaris, and you might actually remember this bean family by another title here in the Philippines. They are also known as Baguio beans, named after the iconic mountainous city in the country, based known for being a terrific tourist destination, while also growing great snap beans. And while we often cook these string beans, and as we do with vegetables, they are technically fruits like other kinds of green beans because they come from the plant's flower and contain seeds. They are actually unripe fruit, but what makes them particularly unique as fruits is that they are usually used in cuisine with their outer pods on and before maturing entirely. You may also see long strings along these outer pods, and this is where the name string beans come from. String beans usually provide a good deal or crunch amid tender textures of meat or some root vegetables, which is why it is so well used in our cuisine. It blends in nicely with heaps of sapid soup, while making for a highly complementary ingredient in your classic stir-fry. Because of its wide range of uses, it has become very popular worldwide, but the Philippines in particular loves placing a fitting amount of this healthy ingredient in its recipes. If you are able to work with just a select few ingredients in the kitchen for lunch or dinner, these string beans may just be the perfect option for you. This is arguably one of the best and simplest way to have your sitaw, with a good share of ground black pepper and fish sauce. We are able to bring flavor into our crunchy string beans. But you've also got some rich, flavorful ground pork to grant your body some protein. Altogether, we have an accessible and affordable dish with this recipe that will mostly only take a bit of stir-frying and mixing. Save this recipe for days wherein you may not have a lot of time or ingredients to cook, but still want something simultaneously nutritious and tasty for a meal. Here are just a couple of health benefits that come from eating sitaw. With string beans often being mistaken for vegetables, it probably comes as no surprise that they are filled with much needed nutrients. It is a great source of vitamin K. This helps your body calcium absorption while making sure that your urinary excretion of calcium is lower. But string beans also contain a good deal of vitamin A, C, folic acid, and fiber, among many other nutrients. Moreover, this ingredient is free of some components that could have adverse effects on your body. Green beans in general have no cholesterol, unlike many other foods. By keeping your cholesterol low, you can help prevent a stroke or a heart attack. This is because high cholesterol can cause fat deposits to build in your arteries. Sitaw also has very low sodium content, which can help keep you away from high blood pressure. And if you're hoping to eat more food that help maintain your immune system, string beans can also be a great option. It is rich in protein, which not only keeps the immune system healthy, but also your hair, bones, and muscles. You can also find a large deal of fiber in SITAW. Among the benefits of fiber is its ability to reduce cholesterol or bad cholesterol levels and keep your heart healthy. But if you want to make the most of these healthy green beans, you should keep an eye out for the right kind to buy. And of course, it's essential to know just how to store these in your kitchen fridge. Like most other greens, it would be best to search for SITAW without any blemishes of black spots. Also go for those with a bright green color and choose string beans that are on the tougher side and aren't flimsy. These are important determinants of this green bean's freshness. And the fresher it is, the more likely you can get most nutrients out of them. And once you've bought them, it is best to eat or cook them as soon as you can. You may be able to reap the most of the SITAW's health benefits this way. But if you're saving them for another day, there are ways to keep them as fresh as possible as you store them. First, you shouldn't thaw frozen green beans so the vitamins and various nutrients in them won't lessen. If you have a plastic bag, it would be ideal to place your string beans inside it. Afterwards, place these in your refrigerator and cook or eat in 1 week. But if you find yourself missing a couple of string beans for your ideal recipe, there are similar ingredients you could also utilize. While string beans count as a commonly used and fairly accessible ingredient, there may be days where they are harder to get a hold of. In cases like this, you can opt to cook with slim stalks of asparagus. They both tend to have a somewhat woody texture as well as a light shape, and this makes it easy to adjust them to your string beans recipe in mind. But be warned that asparagus tends to hold a stronger, somewhat better taste. Sorghum. How to use sorghum? There are 3 ways to cook with sorghum. Sorghum, also known as milo, is an ancient green with a mild, earthy flavor similar to wheat berries. The sustainable gluten-free grain is a flexible ingredient that is used in a variety of preparation by chefs around the world. Sorghum grain is a member of the grass family that was domesticated nearly 1,000 years ago. Sorghum comes in many forms: whole grain, pearl grain, popped, syrup, bran, flaked, and flour. Grain sorghum has colorful seeded stalks in varying shades of white, yellow, red, deep purple, and brown, and a leafy stalk reminiscent of corn. Sorghum is a versatile cereal grain used for human consumption as well as livestock feed, alcoholic beverages, and biofuel production. When sorghum is consumed with its outer hull intact, it's a good source of dietary fiber and antioxidants. Sorghum bicolor, also known as broom corn, was first domesticated in Ethiopia and Sudan about 8,000 years ago. Now, there are varieties of sorghum crops found all over the world throughout Asia, Australia, North America, and Africa. Sorghum crops are non-GMO since it's grown from hybrid seeds and drought tolerant. Sorghum prefers arid environments. The sorghum belt in the United States, for example, extends from South Dakota through Nebraska and Kansas to South Texas. In the United States, sorghum has traditionally been grown for animal feed, but this has shifted in recent years as sorghum, a gluten-free grain, has become more popular among those with celiac disease. Sorghum syrup. Sweet sorghum, a species of sorghum with a higher sugar content in its stalks, is made into a sweetener that also goes by the name sorghum molasses. In the southern United States, tangy sweet sorghum syrup is drizzled over biscuits for breakfast, but you can also use it on pancakes, grits, and other hot cereals. Sorghum flour, ground grain sorghum or sorghum flour can be used in any number of recipes, especially ones that call for whole wheat flour. Sorghum flour is particularly useful for gluten-free baking and can be used to make flatbreads like quick breads, muffins, pasta, and desserts. Whole grain sorghum. In some parts of the world, sorghum is prepared like couscous as the base for dishes like grain bowls. Top whole grain sorghum with steamed, roasted, or raw vegetables and a light dressing. Sorghum kernels can also be cooked into breakfast porridge on the stove top or in a low cooker and served with a variety of complementary toppings just like oats.